Hey everybody, how's it going? This is Chris.
Welcome back.
Yep, we got Rob and we got Tony back. You know Tony, Mr. Moneyball himself, Saddleback College assistant coach, former Kenyatta assistant coach, and JUCO California State champion. Gotta
Hey,
love that. All right. So tonight we're gonna go into some really interesting topics, kind of touchy for some people, but kind of frustrating for others. All right. We're going to talk about the portal and the NIL and kind of how they meld together. I know Rob is has this tangent that he wants to go on. So, Rob, come on, give it to us, baby.
You know what? Now that we have professional college sports, because that's the way I feel it's become, the NIL is wild. And if anybody doesn't know what that is, it's was it name? What's the other one? Identity, likeness, or something like that. So basically, they get paid for um, being an athlete, and companies can give these people money. And some of these kids are getting paid millions, and some of them are getting nothing. I think it floats down into the high schools. I think there was a high school that got an NIL for their team. So it's changed sports from amateur to pro. It's also opened this thing called the portal where kids, they can move college to college just by going into a digital portal, and that allows coaches from anywhere to come and talk to them and try and recruit them over to their school. So we are lucky we actually have a coach who's dealt with some of this, and it's been changing every year. It's getting crazier every year. So where what I guess the way to start it, coach, is what was it like when it first happened? When was your first actual when you actually had to deal with it for the first time, and it affected maybe some of your coaching, or you saw it, how it affected your coaching? And then where do you think it's going? I know
well,
it's a lot.
I at our level, our guys, they get Subway, their NIL deals are, free sandwiches and things like that. We're not talking about Shadur Sanders, and these guys, making millions and millions of dollars. At our level, it hasn't really our guys' NIL likeness in who they are hasn't really developed. It's you got to pretty much you got to kind of be someone for somebody to want to pay you. Let's just be honest about that. Not every company in the world is going to play some JUCO player who's the 20th player on their roster. Those are the guys that aren't getting any money. But you're looking at some of these college players and they got $100,000 necklaces on during football games, and you're like, oh, okay, I'm starting to see what's going on. So at our level, we haven't been affected by the NIL too much, but the transfer portal now, we're getting Division I kickbacks. We're getting guys. We can't offer guys, Lamborghinis to switch from one school to another, which I've heard of, but we're not on that level. But when it comes to getting Division I players back to JUCO to go win championships, now that's something that we've got to benefit from for sure.
So how is that conversation different than it was before? Because you were recruiting from high school most of the time. You might get a Division I kickback, but now that there's this portal and you're like, hey, I'm drooling. How has that changed the conversation?
I mean, it's still like we still at the JUCO level, we need to have first contact. So, by winning a state championship, we do have guys that want to come play for us. So the winning is doing the recruiting for us. Now, as far as high school guys coming to JUCO, that's just a natural transition. But the D1 guys coming back to JUCO, that's not a step most of them wanted to take. But when they could go play in the best conference in the country, and now eyes are on them, and they can get drafted better than in a place they were before, now that's a better decision and an easy decision for them to make.
It makes me think of something.
More
Yeah, go,
ball
Chris.
getting drafted out of JUCO than they are. Well, not a great deal more, but it seems like the numbers are more with more rounds in the MLB draft that they're taking players from a JUCO. MLB scouts want to see what those ball players do at those levels to see if they can transition, into their rookie leagues, their low A, high A, so on and so forth. And JUCO ball does a great job, especially in California. I mean, most of your JUCO programs, what is it, about 75% are D1 compatible programs, which a lot of people don't realize out here. They are. Um, and that's something that I've noticed with the portal, especially going baseball wise. You're going to see a lot less players wanting to transfer out in baseball and stay or be a D1 fallback. Because even when you and I were playing, there were a lot of D1 fallbacks that ended up going on into the minor leagues from Kenyatta way
Oh yeah,
back.
lots of them. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I don't think the NIL deals or the portal is really affecting the junior college level as much as it does, the 4-year level. But so for us, it's just really a bonus to get a D1 player to come back to JUCO, and other than that, it really hasn't changed very much.
So you say that you're pretty excited to get a D1 player, but are you dealing with some emotional stuff that he didn't make it a D1 and he had to come back to JUCO? Like, is there kind of like a deflated and you're trying to build him back up?
Yeah, I mean, we get that for a minute, and then we sit them down, we have a conversation with them. Like it's not a failure. You've dropped back to a program that's going to get you somewhere better than where you were before. So the transition of, let's say this kid just goes to LSU and he's a freshman and he's got juniors and seniors playing in front of him, but he's going to sit on the bench for 2 years. All right, go back to JUCO and play. Don't sit on a bench. Get off your little ego and your little hurt sides. Nobody cares, about the feeling. Everybody's a little feelingy these days. Let's be real. I get them back in and put my arm around them and say, hey, we're gonna fix what's missing. We're gonna tool you up and we're gonna get you out of here. So I think in our state, being in the Orange Empire Conference and where we are, I don't think we get a lot of D1 kickbacks who are upset that they're at our program because obviously it's one of the best in the country. So it's a golden opportunity for them to develop what they're missing, and we send them on somewhere else.
And I'm seeing it in other sports. We've been talking a lot of baseball, but there's a volleyball. We'll probably have this as another show, maybe. But San Jose State's losing 7 of their players right now into the portal for volleyball. But there's a lot of things that are happening there for that reason. Soccer, some incredible, soccer player women. One that we interviewed started at Oregon, and now she's at Ohio State playing soccer. Another person we interviewed, he started at Air Force. He ended up at Utah. Now he's at Cal Poly. So it's wild to keep trying. You're like, hey, trying to find all these people, or just like I'm in Nevada. I'm living in Reno, and I'm Jeff Choate's the coach here. He was the defensive coordinator at Texas a couple years ago. He's changing the program around, and he has 2 good quarterbacks. He's got Chuba Purdy, Brock Purdy's brother, who played in Nebraska, came over here, and then he sat behind a guy, and he put himself in the portal. The quarterback that started last year put himself in the portal, is leaving, and Chuba pulled back because he believes he's going to start. So there's such a chess match going on at the same time, and it doesn't always work. I mean, I even know a kid coming out of Lincoln, California, stud, goes to San Jose State, puts himself in the portal, can't find a team. He's done.
It's a gamble. It's a gamble for sure.
That was
Done.
the next thing I was going to talk about. Please finish what you're saying, and I want to go.
Well, then I really was. I mean, that's where I covered a lot of ground. Obviously, I do that, but I wanted you guys to kind of chime in and maybe anything I said on your thoughts about, even other sports or even in the sport that you're in, how you're seeing and do you have to counsel these kids, or is it just kind of like hands off and you do what you do, or, there's so much going on. That's what's so wild because of the fan. That's hard for me too. And then it's like, okay, well, Alabama's not Alabama anymore. And he left for obviously knowing this whole portal thing's going to happen. And now the competition's like, who can give this kid the most money? And you're going to start winning championships. So is a championship even a championship? We could talk about that in another show.
Yeah, 100%.
Wow, I mean, that was just like a barrage of word vomit there. Holy crap. I don't even know where to start now. I mean, my brain went squirrel. Wow.
I understand the tangent the tangent he went on, and I get it. For me, it all comes down to one word for me, and that's loyalty.
Mm.
Where is your loyalty to the person who wanted you to come there and wanted to develop you? And then all of a sudden you just throw yourself, the one person that offers you a scholarship out of high school or wanted you, and then you just completely turn your back on them and you're going to go for the money. And there's just, just the money is really destroying everything. It's just, I mean, it's phenomenal the way sports have changed. And I'm watching a Niner game the other day, and I'm watching millions and millions and millions of dollars standing on the sideline, and hundreds of thousands of dollars playing. And I'm
Yep.
like, well, what's going on here? It's like, this is absurd. You break a fingernail now, and you're making $1 million standing on the sideline. I'm like, I just don't get the loyalty. For me is the word. It's like, if I got recruited by Augie Garrido to go to Fullerton, I'm going to play for that man for 4 years. That's what I'm going to do, because you have to be true to your word and who you are. If you sell out and for money, and you're not true to who you are and staying true to the people who believed in you in the first place, I'm not sure I want that human being in my dugout or in my locker room or my clubhouse or whatever. I'm not sure I want those people around my program.
All right. Well, this opens another question.
Integrity. Couple of big things. I think Dion, I mean, I know we were kind of talking about Shadur and all that, but I think Dion said it the best. These kids don't have any loyalty. What makes you think they're going to have loyalty to their team or to their coaches when they can't even not cheat on their girlfriends? And I was like, whoa, when I heard that, I was like, that is actually a very huge statement in consideration because to me, like you're saying, loyalty and integrity are together, in my opinion. And when I'm sitting here and I see these kids go into that portal or they talk about the portal or I've heard some ball players talking and yeah, I'm not going to go anywhere that's not going to give me X amount or Y amount or Z amount. And I'm sitting there going, are you kidding me? You don't even know if you're going to have a team. Now, going back to what Rob said, there are a lot of ball players that can't even get on JUCO teams right now, or a D2 team or a D3 team because they went into the transfer portal thinking it's going to be sunny on the other side of the rainbow, and it's not because their careers might be done because their integrity, their loyalty, and then number three, the huge one, as you know and I know, that attitude. If it's shitty, bye bye, thanks for playing. It was all your pleasure. You know,
Exactly.
yeah. It goes back to the last show. You're talking about the first kid on the field, last kid off the field, in the weight room, so on and so forth. It's the same thing. How do you treat um, your teammates? One of the things I like to do is if I told a coach I was going to go and scout them at a game on Tuesday, I'd go to Monday's practice just to see what that kid was doing. Wouldn't introduce myself, wouldn't say anything, which you're not supposed to do, but I wanted to see what type of integrity this kid had, what type of teammate he was. And there are many times where I'd go for an inning and go, I'm done. I don't need to see this kid anymore.
Exactly. You'll find out right away.
Yeah.
Right away. Yeah. They
And
stand like a box of lemons with one green apple in it. You'll see them.
yep,
You, yeah.
true. And how many times have you seen a kid? You're like, where was this kid? What, or this gal? Where did she come from? She's not on any radar. She's not on anywhere. I mean, how many times have we heard those success stories too?
Yeah, 100%. And all these kids they're all going for the money and portals and transferring and all this stuff. What they need to understand is if you're worth anything, the money's sitting around the other end waiting for you. You're gonna go get it. You're
Mm-hmm.
trying to get money. It means you got to try to get money now. It means you don't really believe in your future, or are you really even going to make it? It's like, I'm just going to bow out and take this little bit of money now instead of, man, I might be able to turn that little bit of the money into a lot of money, if I actually finish the journey, you know. So the money's ruining things. I think kids are getting money they haven't even earned it.
They haven't. And
Let me throw out the big one right now that just happened.
here it comes.
Belichick. Bill Belichick. How does that I mean, that's one of those things. Like, you're gonna go to a school, not necessarily the biggest football school you can think of. Now you got Bill Belichick, and you got the NIL, and you got the portal. That changes the whole game again, right?
Yeah, who doesn't want to play for Bill? I mean, the guy's a proven winner. Like recruiting taken care of, number one. That's what Saban had. That's what Sandra Dion's got. Oregon, because they're sponsored by Nike, who doesn't want to go wear 18 different uniforms this season and 30 different helmets and, have the facilities that are crazy? It's like, it's just ridiculous what it's turning into. But again, who doesn't want to go play for Bill?
Yeah.
Like, you go. That's the culture is going to start, and the program's going to turn around just because of the culture that he's had in the NFL, and he's going to take it everywhere that he goes.
Yeah.
It's the same mindset. It even goes into high school. So here's an explanation. I'm sitting there, used to announce football for Whitney High School, and the Folsom coaches are in the same room with us. We're just sitting there, and I'm just talking to him like, hey, how's it going up to Folsom? Everything's good and stuff like that. He's like, are you going to ask the question? And I'm like, what's the question? And he's like, how do we get the kids over? And I'm like, actually, I wasn't going to, but now that you brought it up, go ahead and talk. And he says, how we do it is we send all our coaches over to all the camps, and the kids go, oh, you're Folsom High School. You guys are really good. How do I get in there? I said, well, you can apply. And they go, well, why should I go to Folsom over anywhere else? He said, because I have these college coaches at my practices every day, and they're watching your practice. Would you go to such and such school and not have the coaches there? That's their recruiting. That's how they recruit it.
Exactly.
So it's back to the same thing with Belichick, right? Why would you do that? It goes to Saddleback. You guys won a state championship. Would you rather be at the state champion Saddleback, and this coach is looking at you, and this pro team's going to maybe be at your practice? I mean, that's the recruiting, isn't it?
100%. It has to do with winning, and what your winning programs have people who come and watch their players. All you want to be is recruited. You don't want to go play somewhere where there's not one scout or one college recruiter in the stands. Who wants to go play there? I mean, it's like, winning takes care of everything. Belichick's a winner. Deion Sanders, winner. These guys are winners. Our program, we win. The recruiting basically takes care of itself because everybody now wants to play for a winner because they want to be seen. But now it's turning into, okay, well, I want the money. It's like, yeah, you're going to get your money if you're any type of player. You'll get what's coming to you.
Well, you know what Deion Sanders said too, right? Must be the money.
Must be the money. We're talking about Deion Sanders. So,
but what did he do at Colorado? Like, Colorado was just sitting mid to low the whole time in the Pac-12, and comes into Colorado after Jackson State. I mean, did amazing things there, but what he brought was TV coverage.
Yeah.
These kids at Colorado are seen every week. They're being talked about on all the shows. Travis Hunter gets the Heisman a lot because of the hype. Yeah, is he legit, but is he better than the running back at Boise State? That might be another show. But ultimately, that's kind of where we're talking about. It's viewership and who's being seen and what are you getting for that. And now, and Deion's recruiting is easy because he's like, now I got a Heisman guy, and I got money, and you're on TV all the time, and I'm Deion.
Yeah, but you said it. The last thing you said was it. You're talking about a guy who played 2 professional sports, not just one, played in a World Series and a playoff game in the same night, jumped in a helicopter. You're talking about that guy who was going to make this money all these kids want, but he did it the right way. He did it the right way. And now they all want a little piece of that cake, but they are not primetime. They're not that guy. But he does bring it to the table. I don't mind what he does, because he's one of the best athletes to walk planet Earth. So now, who doesn't want to play for Deion Sanders, right? I would want to play for him, like right off the bat. Like, this is growing up, that was one of the baddest dudes I ever seen in my life. Him and Bo Jackson. I'm like, these guys are like the premier people who've walked planet Earth, right? Who does not want to go play for that guy? And now, when all this money is involved and you're dealing with these NIL deals and all of this stuff, Colorado, place to be. It's the place.
So now that same conversation is colleges are starting now to try to put money in to draw these kids for their attention to bring more money and all that. I can tell you right here in Reno, they now are putting in a student fee to pay for facilities for football so that they can draw more and better kids and compete. It's all the same thing that we're talking about. Now the colleges are going from, they're even having the actual student body that could care less about football. Now they're pitching in to make it better because it's all about the money.
All about the money. Yeah.
You know, that's what it's
Right.
all about. That's what it's always been about. If you took what's going on today and put it 20 years ago, how many schools would be in the death penalty?
Oh.
A lot.
That's a complete and total different show, period. Just the
Right.
comparison alone.
That doesn't exist anymore.
No,
Oh,
there's no more death penalty, folks.
I mean, yeah. I mean, it's just taping other teams which gets you in the death penalty now, or banned from coaching in college football ever again. So you go to the Chargers. I'm sorry, I'll just call it right out.
no. You nailed that one.
Excuse me.
But no, I mean, I mean, we've killed this subject so good because
We did.
it's such a broad subject. Yeah, we went longer than we normally would even on this one, but there's again so much in this that we don't even know where it's going. And
No
you're
idea.
coaching in the middle of it right now, and you don't know where it's going. But you're
I'm glad.
incredible thing happened.
I'm glad I'm where I'm at because, like I said, we're not as affected by it as the big, the big division, one schools. But your likeness and who you are. I mean, I just like the fact that these kids could promote themselves and they could do those types of things. That's fine. But when it all comes down to it, you better hit 350 and hit 17 jacks and drive in 100 runs or your baseball career's over. And that's just talking baseball. So I don't care how much your likeness is or whatever you do, you might want to perform.
Story.
Coach Gomes, thank you.
My pleasure.
You brought so much to this. I really appreciate that. Let me go on some tangents, but hey, you brought it back in. You brought me back in. So,
Really. Go in a little bit. I appreciate you guys having me. I don't know if you guys are going on any further, but yeah, I'm here for you guys whenever you need me.
No, we have to get back into our Hall of Fame conversation. So,
I'll put my.
If you want to stay for Hall of Fame, you can.
I'll put my Pete Rose jersey on if you want.
Oh God, yeah, you have to. You have to. But
Yes.
because I've got to go use the restroom. Oh, actually, hold on. We got to end the show first, don't we?
Now I got to cut that out. All right. So hey, thanks for coming. We had a great time here. We obviously we film all our shows in one night, which just makes it easier for us. But hey, we're actually going in and talking about Hall of Fame next. So make sure you join us when that comes out. We just had a Hall of Fame. If it's out there already, watch that first show. We're gonna talk about the second part of that. This is gonna be shows and shows and shows about Hall of Fame, obviously. But thank you for joining us. Hey, really quick sponsor jump. We're just doing really quick ones right now. Para Travelers, real quick. Para Travelers, what's your email?
Support at paratravelers.net.
Perfect. RobLeroy.com. I'm coaching. I'm teaching people how to do digital businesses. And we're going to go into a men's mental health program, an app where men can have a place to go. They don't have to talk about the problems. They just know that somebody's there to talk about whatever. We're going to be there. So that's what I'm building. Old Man Frat. It's going to be awesome under RobLeroy.com. And, if you want to check it out, check it out. If you have any questions, you can hit us up. Love to talk to you. So thank you. And we'll catch you at our next show.